Billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman blatantly tries to pump HNT to stir up some quick exit liquidity for himself, driving the price down almost 16%. This was a pretty blatant move as the timestamps on the chart line up almost exactly with his tweets. This is not very concerning from a long-term HNT perspective, as this was likely driven almost entirely by market mechanics, but is more a sign of what might lay ahead for HNT and the rest of the crypto markets as the FTX contagion spreads and searches for its next victims. Liquidity is king these days, and some firms are going to have to liquidate some or all of their long-term holdings if they are too overextended. I am sure Ackman is not the only one out there searching for liquidity for one of the 7 blockchain venture capital funds he's invested in, but he's the only one having his interns writing Twitter threads to try and grab every ounce of liquidity he can. He might not have fooled us, but he clearly fooled Decrypt and CoinDesk. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the Crypto Compound channel. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you guys are having a great day. Please hit that like and subscribe on the way in. Today, we are going to be discussing Mr. Bill Ackman and his little stunt he pulled the other day on Twitter. We're going to talk about it not because it's very important right now with what we're looking at, but this gives us a glimpse into what is very possible and very likely going to happen moving forward with other funds and other managers and other people that are seeking liquidity because of what is going on right now with FTX and Genesis and all of these firms trying to seek liquidity to avoid bankruptcy. Now, guys, before we get into the details of this, I just want to make it very clear. First of all, this post or this thread by Bill Ackman is incredibly poorly written. It includes numerous untrue statements and describes things incorrectly. However, I'm not highlighting this to say that Helium is not as valuable as I believe it to be. I'm highlighting this because it's important that we know what's really going on and why we see certain things the way we do on the internet and how that impacts the price. This entire thread was literally a liquidity grab orchestrated by Bill Ackman or whoever on his team wrote this horrible thread in an attempt to offload some HNT at the highest price possible. So this is the about 30 minutes from posting the thread. We went all the way up here, and then he announced that he's not advocating for any crypto, blah, blah, blah. And we saw a decline of about 15% to one of the lowest points in the Helium chart over the last few years to about $2.10, a pretty significant drawdown in a matter of 30 minutes. If we look at this thread here, as we can see, he starts off, or his intern starts off, the telephone, the internet, crypto, share, one thing in common, blah, 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 blah. He goes on to then down here mention Helium. 2 examples may help to explicate my view. Helium created a global Wi-Fi network. That is not even true. It is not a global Wi-Fi network. This is clearly a publicity stunt, and anyone that's actually reading this and doesn't know what is actually taking place behind the scenes is now going to think that Helium is some sort of global Wi-Fi network. He also mentions that it's used by Lime, Bike, and others. This is also up for debate and rather controversial. So this is just a horrible, horrible thread.
He's shameful!
And it is posted just minutes before the decline here that we saw on the charts. As you can see, it's about 5:25 when he posts this. About an hour later at 6:35, he says, "To be clear, I am not advocating for any particular crypto project. Rather, I am making the case crypto can facilitate potentially useful and important businesses that therefore could not exist." So he's basically then redacting all he's saying, just saying, I'm using those as examples effectively. And in the meantime, HNT collapsed almost 16%. And if we look over here at the HNT total liquidations chart, we can see this was the exit here, which I suspect to be Mr. Bill Ackman. It's not a huge position. It's about $67,000 of HNT that was long, that was liquidated. However, I really do believe that that is exactly what we saw, that he was seeking some exit liquidity, likely due to one of his relationships or a fund that he is running, and he wanted to make as little of an impact as possible. Who knows, if he didn't make that tweet, this might have crashed below $2. And funny enough, of course, Decrypt here picked this up and says, Billionaire Bill Ackman does U-turn on crypto, reveals Helium investment. First of all, he has spoken about Helium and he has mentioned his investment in Helium long before. We have covered that here on the channel. And they don't even really mention that he's not even talking about it correctly. It's just horrible reporting, just a horrible publicity stunt in general here to try and capture some liquidity. And as we can see, CoinDesk here, Bill Ackman endorses crypto project Helium, discloses crypto holdings. I mean, another just really just joke of an article here, not highlighting the fact that Helium is not a Wi-Fi network, does not necessarily have a partnership with Lime. So this is just a really good example of how the mainstream crypto outlets and a really poorly written Twitter thread can be used against a community and market participants. Of course, I am not blaming Mr. Ackman for trying to serve in his best interests. Of course, that's better than, let's say, SBF claiming that he wants to be a billionaire to give it all to charity.
I wanted to get rich not because I like money, but because I wanted to give that money to charity.
Which is just the biggest red flag I have ever seen. So it is okay that he is trying to unload or unwind these positions at the highest price possible. What's important is that we know what is going on behind the scenes and how these big players are executing on the plans and strategies that they have in place and the direction they are trying to move. Of course, like I mentioned, I don't think this says much about Helium long term. It doesn't impact Helium's fundamental value. It just impacts the short-term price because of this liquidity crunch we're experiencing with the FTX and subsequent crypto firm collapses. Ultimately, this is important because it shows that Helium is subject to market impact due to liquidity needs. This should be expected to happen again in the future. And of course, we can't rule out going even lower than the lows we have already seen. This is not over yet. This liquidity crunch and these bankruptcies are certainly not over. We just have to get through it. But I don't think this is the last of this type of movement or action. We will see. Let me know your guys' thoughts or if you've seen anything else out there that looks like this. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching until the end. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Please hit that like and subscribe if you have not already. But just like that, this video is over and I will see you next time.